I do want to give you a couple of warnings for this class. First off, I created a lot of labs to use real-world information on the internet, stuff I haven't planted. I've been through many cybersecurity classes, many SANS classes, and external trainings, and whenever I find these things where the author or the instructor has planted an account out there, it always feels a little fake. It feels like, oh, okay, yeah, it worked for that, but would it work with a real... So a lot of the targets that we're using are real things that people have put out there in the world. When we look at photospheres, we're going to be pulling up real photospheres with real license plates in them. When we look at other things, again, we're using the live stuff on the internet. Now, what this means is that there's a huge risk if that website changes their look and feel, if the data changes, ages out, then some of the labs might not be as accurate anymore, right? Because if Google adds or removes some of their Google dorks or their Google advanced search strings, then the class doesn't necessarily have that stuff in it. So I ask you to bear with me. I would rather this class be real world instead of you doing all of your labs in a safe, contained environment. Like if I had created the MicaBook application and put it in your laptops and your VMs, and all of the labs worked great, just like they should work on Facebook, that does you a disservice, I think, because it doesn't work when you go back to your office. You don't have that real world, hey, you know what, we had this problem in class, I know how to work through it. That's what I want you to have. So some of the labs might be a little bit more challenging, and that's the internet. Also, some of the information in the slides may not be exactly as the websites that I refer to show them as, because maybe they changed a look or a feel or something. And what I'll ask is you just to take the underlying concepts out of this instead of the actual content. Also, because we're doing stuff on the internet, there is some dangerous stuff on the internet, especially when we get to the dark web. So I have, in many cases, and because this class is being taught all around the world with different cultures, different religions, I've tried to be sensitive to everyone, which may mean that the labs are not as deep diving as you might want them to be. We do not research hate groups in here. We're not looking up Nazis and other groups that, or mob. I mean, I had some students in there like, why don't we go after organized crime in some of these labs? I'm like, because I have a wife and kids at home. I'm not going to do that. So some of the labs are a lot more tame than you might like, but we teach you the techniques that if you are okay with doing those, doing research on those groups, you can take it back to your offices or wherever you do your OSINT and apply them and do that. Also, I ask you to please be conscious of other people in the room. Those of you sitting in the front of the room, people behind you may be able to see your screen. So whereas you might be okay showing like certain images, blood and guts or whatever, or whatever, the people behind you may not be okay seeing those images. So while we're in the room here, just please be conscious of that.